then I just started the recording. Just be a minute or so while I'm looking for something to talk about.
Yeah, we had this weird Bastion player on this map. Yeah, I was watching him do that pin. I've never seen that pin before. Cree.
Oh, so we missed the left click there before we went for the hook. But we still got the that was a really nice hook. And nice hooks right off the bat. Only thing I'm thinking is maybe we're a little bit risky with just the out in the open play, and that we're kind of continuously like when we're going for these hooks, we're kind of walking on the open for them. So that's just the part to be careful of, because like we kind of do the same thing over and over again, where like we kind of jump here, plop ourselves straight in the middle of the open with no cover, right? We're getting shot at by everyone, and we did that kind of like 3 different times that we went for hooks. So, I mean, we're landing the hooks, so hooks like really fantastic where we're landing them, right? But then we're possibly just taking a lot of damage and then
Yeah,
dying
how do I
as a
finish
result.
those kills, Boogie? Like, because I can get those. Do I just need to, like, aim a little bit more upwards when I do it?
Yeah, so well, it looks like 2 of the 3 we did. So I think the one of them we finished, right? 2 of
Yep, it
them we
was the
missed.
Junkrat, because I aimed up.
Yep, one of the one on the McCree we missed our left click. Like this one we just didn't left click. We canceled it with our hook. And then that's how we didn't finish that one. If we just hit a left click, then that would have actually hit him, right?
Alright.
But then the next one we actually got swung to the side by the Reinhardt, wherever this one is.
Yeah, right.
Here. Yeah. You can see we get swung to the side by the Reinhardt and then that makes it more difficult. So one thing maybe I would say. Oh, come on, I'm trying to find where are we at. Okay, so like trying to think. I think that it's outside of hook range, so I don't think we'd be able to hit it from here. But we also don't. One thing I'd say maybe is just watch for the people below you before we're jumping, because it's just pretty risky to do it when there's a bunch of people looking at you and you're jumping into the middle of their team.
Yeah, I did work on my hook a lot.
Yep. Yeah, because then we die because we're just out in the open. We just want to be careful with the risky ones like that. Nice hooks. Yep, like so far they've been spot on.
I don't know why I'm reloading there.
Yeah.
And I go for a hook, but I miss.
Melee. Oh, when she's 1 HP like that, just melee her even before you go for the healing, right? So just watch your health bar.
I also just hit the health pack, so I should have known. I shouldn't have even.
So at this point, we have half of our HP, but also look at her HP, where she's legit
she's
one, right?
Yeah.
Literal one, right? So you just
kill.
Yep, exactly, right? You just melee her. You also have 1 extra shot in your gun as well, right? And then that just paying attention. That's just an awareness thing, right? And then we die as a result, right? It looks like sometimes here we're pushing a little bit too deep for these kills. We want to make sure we're just focusing on survivability and staying alive, because we're already dead 2 times, and both of the times is looking like the reason why. And like we might have talked about that last time, but like, you know, just every time we're dying, we're looking for the reason, and so far it's looking like it's just too much aggression. We're just going. Yeah, we want to just tone it back a little bit, or at least look to like stay alive while we're going in, right?
Yeah.
Right. And then that that flips that whole fight around, and then our death, and ends up being a big impact for losing that fight.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're sitting at 400 HP. Just heal up real quick when you're just sitting there, not much to do.
I'm waiting for my team to get back.
Yep.
I don't know why. I tried to jump onto there. I can make that, though.
Yeah, you can. Alright. Well, that was one of the reach. So we're starting to miss a couple extra hooks now. One thing I am noticing is that we haven't been doing the tracer shot combo. How has that been going?
I find it difficult for me personally. I know it's
Mhm.
effective. I find it difficult for me personally to apply it into my gameplay.
Mm.
I want to, I just haven't been able to.
All right. Well, just keep in mind that it's not going to be like I don't know if I specified this last time, but it's not going to be applicable in every single scenario that you're hooking.
Yeah.
Especially when you're trying to go for a faster hook, or if you're trying to go for a sneaky hook, for example. You might not have the time to add in a right click if you need to get the hook off fast. If you like, for example, let's say someone's just about to run around the corner, you might not have time to put in that right click, but if you're just hooking someone who you have a little bit of time to work with, to work with hooking them, then that's just gonna be a really effective way to finish off those kills, get extra damage in, make it easier for you to hit the shot. Just so I just say that's one thing to keep working on. And keep
I should be shield
Yeah,
breaking
yeah,
there, yeah.
exactly right. Keep pelting down his shield there. Also, what's really good, and I'd like to just like talk about this real quick because I guess just cuz is that you're actually starting to pick up on a lot of the stuff that you're doing wrong, and that's actually really good because it's showing me that you're really good at identifying mistakes, and that's really all about how self-improvement works, is identifying those mistakes and thinking of what could I be doing instead, right? So if you're not shooting, be actually shooting at the shield. So
Yeah.
I would just encourage you, like honestly, like that's all how I self improved. You don't need to like even if you
Do I
didn't
need
want
to
to. Good.
watch my VODs more? Like, is that
I
really what
never
it
watched really any of my VODs when I self improved. I went from silver to top 500, 44, 68. I really never watched many of my VODs. Like maybe a couple, and it would really only be with like with my team and scrims. But that was pretty much it. Most of what it was though was in game. Basically, in-game improvement was I would go in right as this mistake happened. I would think, oh snap, I probably should have been shooting, right? Or
I do
mm,
that now. That's why like I've seen a real jump in my kills, and I've seen some heroes' deaths go down as well, actually.
nice. All right. Yep. So
And like I like to correct my mistakes mid game. That way I
mhm.
don't have to.
Exactly, and
Do it.
that's really you can do like if you feel like you're a VOD review guy, like that's no problem with that at all. Like of course we're doing VOD reviews here, and VOD reviews, self VOD reviews, VOD reviews definitely can be helpful. But I'm just saying, just keep at that because that's a really good way to self improve and just keep getting better. Is to just look at your mistakes and try to identify them, try to get better with and try to fix them. Right, so just keep doing that. Right, because you're already starting to do my job for me here. Oh, that was that hook should not have landed.
Hey, I'll take it.
Oh, make sure they were angling down there when they're all shattered. We kind of kept aiming straight up there, like they weren't shattered. Like we kind of watch this, how like they're all on the ground,
I Yeah,
and
I
we kind
don't
of keep
adjust
shooting
my aim. I
forwards.
just keep
Yeah,
shooting.
we
Yeah.
just kind of keep shooting forwards.
I mean, I
Oh,
get bailed out because the Ryan pushes them all in,
yeah.
but and I overextend here. I'm pretty sure. I don't think I die, but I do overextend.
Hmm.
I tried to hook him, and then yeah, Ryan goes after. And I tried to hit that widow because I knew she was there.
Yeah, I don't think this is overextending. Um, yeah, this is fine positioning. Maybe the thing I would say is probably take the high ground, as this is going to allow us to do multiple different things. First off, keep in mind like you have all the advantages that you get from high ground to positioning that we might have talked about last time. But then on top of that, one additional thing. Is that high ground's also fantastic for the enemy team too, and it's probably pretty likely that like four of those characters on the enemy team are going to look to take, like one of them is going to look to take high ground, like Ana, Zen, Widow would really benefit from high ground, Junkrat maybe a little bit from high ground. So if they're going to look to take high ground, like Widowmaker for example, if we're sitting up here, we can do multiple things. First off, we can just get a surprise, jump on the Widowmaker, and then that's a free pick. And then the second thing is that even if we don't kill the Widowmaker, we're denying space, and if high ground's really good for them, we can then rip that advantage away from them and give it that
All right,
advantage to
so
ourselves,
be
right?
aware of the fact that they have heroes that can benefit off high ground, and be the one to take that away
Mhm.
from them, even if they're not directly going after it. the fact that you're there makes it so that they can't get there.
Yep, exactly. And so on top of that, you do benefit from high ground as well, and you're taking control of high ground also helps your team, who also benefits from it, right? Hog benefits from high ground, and I don't. Did we talk about much about high ground positioning last time?
We did, yeah.
Yeah,
I do want to know what are some of the what are some of the things that make Hog so good on high ground? Like
yeah.
I'm
So,
aware that
mhm,
the obvious concept of hooking down and every shot you take can be a headshot because you're shooting down.
yeah.
But it's
So,
like
I'll just I'll go
what is
through.
this use there?
Yeah, I'll go through a couple different ones just to reiterate what I said last time as well, or in case I missed some of the maybe you're just not or I didn't actually say the thing I meant to say or I
I
thought I
think I
said.
just want some
Yeah.
clarification
Mhm.
is all. Like
Yeah. Yeah.
I understand the concept and
Mhm.
why. I just want to know like the implications, like how. Like
How
how is it good?
Yeah,
Yeah.
how's it good? Okay, so on a high ground, you get visibility, right? So from a high ground, and also like high grounds also act as off angles. We talked about off angles last time.
Yeah.
Yeah, so
Like
like
how is it good for
mm,
Hog specifically?
yeah, Hog specifically. Well, Hog specifically because he is a character that, like most other characters, benefits from those off angles, right? Hog specifically benefits from off angles. Hog specifically benefits from survivability that's gained from being out of range of a Reinhardt and Zarya, right? If you can outrange a Reinhardt and Zarya, then that means that you're dealing out more damage than you're taking. You can also take off angles. Like let's say, for example, in the middle of the fight, we reset up here. Well, now Widowmaker sneaks up high ground. We hook Widowmaker, she dies. We can also just pelt them from behind, and we get an off angle and a crossfire effect where our team's shooting at them from this
Yeah,
direction.
I did start
We're
off
shooting
angling
at
as
them.
Hog. That's what I'm
Yep.
doing right now.
Exactly.
Just for
We
refresh.
shoot at them from this direction, so that creates a crossfire effect where now they're confused at who do I shield, who do we shoot at, right? That creates value for both of us, and on top of that, we get around the off angle gets us around the shields, and it means that we can get free hooks, and it means that we can get free damage in. Also gives us a ton of survivability and visibility because we can see people coming from the high ground. We can see anybody up on the high ground. We can see people anywhere on point below us, right? We can rotate over here and see people below us, right?
Yeah.
So there's like all those benefits that add up, and then like I just said already, it also we can contest we can because it's not just good for us, it's also good for other people. So we can give that advantage to our team when we take control of our high ground, even if let's say our character didn't benefit from it, right? Let's say we're on like Reinhardt. Reinhardt doesn't really benefit too much from high ground at all, right? Reinhardt's character doesn't like not as nearly as much as other characters doesn't benefit from high ground. So, but you're still going to want to take high ground as Reinhardt once in a while.
Because other players will be benefiting from the fact that we're taking it away from the enemy team.
And giving it to our team as well, right? Because if Ana benefits from high ground, then you want Ana to have high ground, right, on our team. If Mercy benefits and Widow benefits and Roadhog and Bastion benefit from high ground, then your Reinhardt would want to give them that space and then also take it away from them, right? So there's a lot of different things that go into high grounds being where we want to go, and that's pretty much right here. Setting up right here would probably be the best positioning for us to be in, unless Cart was like all the way on the opposite side of the map over here.
All right, that makes sense.
All right, now we have to be a tad careful because we're pushing out of line of sight of a lot of people on our team. And we are getting Reinhardt does have nano here, so that is good. But we just have to be careful in this instance. All right. Yeah. In general, the problem with that fight was that, and it looks like this is a losing fight. I guess let's see if we lost it, and then I'll call that out. It's pretty much what I just said. Yeah,
Yeah, we just backed
that's just
off.
lost. So, the problem there was that we engaged that fight, like us and Reinhardt engaged that when into a tiny little room where three people couldn't help us out, right? So essentially, we're taking a 1-2-3 versus a 1-2-3-4-5, right? Or I guess they have one person up here and then one person spawn. But Junkrat will be back soon enough, and Widow can just back up and help much easier than those guys can. So if anything, it's a 3v4, and we're also pushing into maybe not so great positioning when it'd probably just be a lot better if we just held this. So just our team got way too aggressive here.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, individually, maybe we could probably going for the hook right then wasn't the best move to make because of the fact that first off they have because it looks like we're just hooking into the crowd, so we're maybe not targeting anything in specific, but we do end up hooking the Reinhardt, which doesn't really get a whole lot of value because they have a nano and a Trent, and it wasn't going to do anything. And then that just puts him closer to you guys, and it allows him to shatter. It also just confuses your Reinhardt and makes it easier for him to land the shatter, right? That like Reinhardt all of a sudden being behind him now messes up his ability to block the shatter, and then they both go down, right? So just maybe not going for the hook on the Reinhardt, or specifically trying to target a different character there with our hook probably would have been a little bit more effective, because we were not going to get that kill on the Reinhardt anyways, and hooking him out of position isn't going to do anything there. So that was maybe our individual impact. Besides, maybe we could have also just communicated to try to say like, hey, Reinhardt, don't feed, right? Don't go in that far. But besides that, not much. All right. Make sure we're not just hiding from it, but we're like, as Hog,
the tire's coming in. That's why I was hiding.
Yeah, that's exactly what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Don't hide from the tire. Don't shoot at it, right? This is you as Hog. You have like one of the biggest chances of surviving it, because you're first, like, the only way that it kills you is if it's directly on top of you, which means that if it's basically like since it has kind of a different, basically the closer it is, the closer you are to it, the more damage it does, right? It has kind of damage fall off. The further away it does less damage. It means that you have a good chance to survive it, even if even if you're, it does hit you,
It blows
right?
up directly on your head.
Exactly. On top of that, you have your healing that can do half, damage reduction, which would mean that you'd survive it yet again. So you have a pretty good chance of surviving with higher on your
own.
So
I should be fighting that, because it's not, the chances of it killing me are pretty low.
Yep, but the chances of killing these guys is pretty high, right? These guys are pretty likely to die, and so it's gonna be a pretty good idea if we just attempted to shoot at it, right? We hear where it's coming from, so we can shoot at it. If we shoot a shot at it and we see it's coming in and we're not gonna kill it, then we can just use our health thing real quick, right? If it's on top of us, but if it's not coming straight at us, then we can just shoot at it, and then that hopefully won't kill our teammates that way.
All right.
Okay, using our E when it didn't really do much for us there. We're also not noticing the Junkrat when he was like right next to us there. Just audio awareness. Like, just rewatch this again. I can turn up my volume if you need me to here. Just for the audio awareness purposes. While we rewatch this, just listen. And no. Damage amplified. Alright, so we just kind of completely ignored Junkrat as he landed on top of our heads.
I do hear his little pitter-patter feet.
Yep.
Just barely.
Yep, and it's the pitter-patter, it's the fact that... Oh, whoops, it's like, it was a lot, it was just a lot of different things, and you kind of got to train yourself to listen for it, because it's... Here. You gotta train yourself to listen for it. Maybe the stream might also be quieter than what I'm hearing as well.
The stream is way quieter, but yeah. I did hear it.
Which you can, that is a setting. I don't know if you have it max all the way, but in any case, right, you can, when he does drop, you can hear you can see him on your screen here. You can hear the extra oomph of when he drops. Here in a moment, he's actually going to shoot, and you're going to hear him shooting, and him walking, and him using his mine, and you're also, on top of that, going to hear your Widowmaker go, ah, as she gets hit, right? So you have many, many different indications here that there's a Junkrat, like, an inch from you, right? And we just want to be listening to it, and hopefully, like, in-game, it's not going to be as quiet as my stream, right? It's going to actually be, hopefully, loud enough for you to pick this up, and we just want to be aware and listening to this, right? Because he's like right next to you, right? Now I'm gonna turn my volume back down because it's loud. And in any case, we also seem to be getting too aggressive and continuing to stay in this fight when it's a lost fight, right? Like, if we take a look at this, like, they have their whole team. We're down a bunch of people, right? We should probably just be regrouping here, turn around, kill the Junkrat, back up. But instead, we kind of push forwards, and we're looking for a hook, it looks like.
My friend tells me, hey, can you come help me with this Junkrat? And I say, oh yeah, I got you.
Alright, there we go. Oh. Alright. problem was that we ulted slightly too late, and we gave up a perfect opportunity. So, from this angle, right, let's wait a second here. Alright, so Reinhardt comes in. Perfect opportunity. Don't even go for the hook. This is just where we press Q immediately. And we just pin the Reinhardt into the wall, right? Just like we go boom, right? Where's Reinhardt going to go? This is just an easy kill, right? Yeah, you just pin him in there and he has nowhere to run. But instead, we wait a couple seconds and then the angles change to where now we're on the inside, he's on the outside. And then now that becomes a lot harder of a kill because we push him so far away. Right now, we do get the kill on the Zarya. Oh, yep, we do the good thing on the Zarya there, but we kind of didn't do it on the Reinhardt. Maybe we could have done it slightly earlier, and that also potentially would have, it would have killed them faster. Maybe kept some of your other teammates alive in that situation. Like, let's see, why did they die? What did our teammates die from? Okay, like they got grabbed.
Right.
We got grabbed in there. Reinhardt swings on the So us killing Reinhardt would have kept our Mercy alive, right? And then what does everyone else die to? There's a wait. I don't even know where Widow is. Yeah, Widow died up there. Okay, yeah, and then yeah. So we just could have kept some people alive had we pinned him into the wall. So it's just something we could have done there.
This is shit hook.
Probably need to back up that far. Pay attention, like just the fact that they're not chasing you, and oh come on, I didn't mean to skip that far. And then you also have like teammates here with you. So like in this situation, we see Reinhardt's like right in front of us. Like we can see where they're all at. As soon as we get around this corner, we're good, right? There's no one who can possibly shoot at us. We're safe, but we keep pushing backwards, which means that now we lose out on the opportunity to push back in faster and to secure the kills if we're backing up so far. So like right here, now we're safe. There's like absolutely no way that they're able to kill us here. Exactly. No, absolutely no way anyone's gonna hurt you. But we keep walking and we keep walking, and then we kind of like have a hesitation there before we're pushing back in, and then that possibly gives them just the chance to get away there. Right now, it looks like we might get these kills still. Want to make sure we're putting a little bit more concentration into our hooks because they are seeming inconsistent still. At the very beginning of the game, looking very fantastic, but they've started to seem kind of inconsistent. Exactly, right? That's just the word to use there. It's like half the very beginning is good. Now we're not hitting as many of them, and we want to make sure putting in effort into it. It's looking like we're missing a lot of hooks just because we're overestimating the range that we have on it. We're going for a lot of hooks on people that are too far away, so make sure we're getting used to the range on it. Go for your tracer shots, make them easier, as well as just making sure we're putting a lot of thought and effort into it, because a lot of those shots was that meant to go on those guys or the Zenyatta? Yeah, well then in that case,
yeah. Because I knew he was coming around, so I was going to try to hook him, and then he, instead of going left to avoid the Reinhardt, walked right into him, and I was like, And then our brace wrist gets shattered.
Alright, so let's talk strengths and weaknesses real quick, just to get a quick recap going, just of what we're looking at. Probably say that like our ability usage is looking just inconsistent, not terrible. So that's doing like probably medium-ish at the moment. Ult usage, I've seen 2, I think. They again aren't seeming like they need too much of work. The one was just the only problem I had was that it was just
a little earlier.
Yeah, it was like a couple seconds late on it. So it's not too terrible. Maybe it's a low to medium. It's a low or a low to medium priority. And then we have mechanics. Just I guess generally of shooting right clicks versus left clicks. I'm noticing a couple times where right clicks are at a little bit too short of a range, so we just want to keep our range good. And make sure we're shooting right clicks or left clicks within close range, right clicks at a longer range, right? We're just getting the right ranges down. But for the most part, mechanics looking pretty solid. Probably say it's a little bit less important than our hooks at the moment. So I'd say just general mechanics of shooting at stuff is maybe looking like a what, like a medium or low to medium at the moment at least, which is really good because the last time we had that as the number one. With what were some of the ones that we had that we were talking?
We have bubble management.
Yeah, I'm looking specifically, like I was just
Oh,
looking at the
for
notes real
Hog.
quick. No, to see what the main points for the mechanics were. So yeah,
Oh.
we target priority as one of them. We had what are some of the other ones we
Oh,
had?
target priority is the thing that I've been doing pretty well on.
Yeah.
Especially on Zarya, is like I'll just
Mhm.
like if we're like I was fighting on Dorado on that game I was talking to you about, and there was a situation where we were pushing and it was just a Reinhardt who was backing up and an Ana behind him, and it was me and my Rein, and I just let my Reinhardt take their Reinhardt, and I walked right through their Rein shield and killed their Ana,
Mhm.
and
Yep.
then helped with the shield.
100%. Yep. So, that's honestly been looking a lot more solid, which is really good. That shows improvement. Then awareness and positioning are the final ones here. Awareness seeming like one that's needing a little bit of work. As we, obviously the Junkrat was like right next to us in that last fight, and we're also, like, and we didn't notice him for a long while until our Anna called or whatever, or our friend called. I don't know who you said that was.
Yeah, it's
Um,
mercy.
yeah, and then there's been some other instances like that too, like where we're just kind of leaping on the open. I'm also thinking so that one's maybe going in like medium, as well. It's looking like a lot of inconsistencies just plopping themselves in the middle, and then finally, um positioning. Honestly, I think I might, now that I'm thinking through it, positioning is looking like one of the higher ones. Making sure we're taking high grounds. Also, I'm finding us out in the open a lot. Like for example, that last death we just had. Let's rewatch this death and just watch how we kind of get overly aggressive because we're not paying attention to their respawns and the fact that they're getting their Reinhardt back. And now this turns into, look at where they are in comparison to your team. So we're getting way ahead of the curve. And now again, it's a 3 versus 1, 2, 3, 4. Right. So we're kind of coming in here at a disadvantage because we're getting too overly aggressive, and we're out in the open currently, and then that's going to result in us getting slept and killed, right? Remember, good positioning is the usage of cover, whereas bad positioning is the absence of cover. So making sure we're not in the open. This happens here. This also happened like 3 times in a row on the first point. Remember when we just kind of jumped down
Yep.
the open and that got us killed? Um, Another thing is just we're spending a lot of time maybe like over here, like I think the big thing is like at the very beginning of fights, especially just focusing on tanks. So we might want to, I might get into like some off angling, like of just like showing examples where we can off angle a little bit more, but we'll get more into that as we're going here. So that, oh yeah, so some positioning is looking like one of the higher ones, maybe like a medium high at the moment. Right. Yet again, pushing in way ahead of our whole team. Make sure that we're paying. This is awareness. So I think this again is going into awareness, and you see these things, how they keep adding up, and that's how you get which one is the biggest importance, which ones are the highest priorities. When you see it continue to add up, that last fight and this fight are showing at me that we're not being aware of our surroundings and where our team is. So we want to make sure that we are not just always walking around in a straight line, maybe doing a slow pan, but instead we're looking left, we're looking right, we're doing a 360, especially before we're about to push in aggressively. So for example, when we're sitting right here and we're going, okay, I'm about to turn this corner, there's an enemy team there. Where's my team at? And we do a 360 and we go, oh snap, they're all in spawn. I'm going to wait a second, right? So before we're getting aggressive and we're pushing, we should almost always look behind us and check, because that's going to be better than if we're up here and we peek the corner and then we're like, oh wait, they're not with me, right? It's just that's the order in which you should be going. You look and then engage, not engage and then look, right? That way you're not making the mistake and then having to turn back from the mistake, right? Because in this instance we're just pushing when we don't have teammates with us, right? Because we do, that's exactly what we just did, was like we kind of noticed after we engaged, which just fed them some ult charge, and that's pretty much it. But so it could have gone worse. Definitely could have gone worse. Definitely could have gone better. But that's still just an awareness thing. All right. So let's talk about positioning now. A lot of time spent on this angle right here. Probably would like to see us taking some nice off angles, right? So for example, or I guess let me, since I'm trying to train you a little bit here as well to get to know how you can do this yourself, right? To get better at self-analyzing and improving. Where would you say would be a good off angle to take from if you're Reinhardt and this is the main angle?
If you're Reinhardt and this is a main
No,
angle,
yeah. So sorry, I didn't mean to say if you're Reinhardt, but if your Reinhardt's here on the main angle.
you could go right and underneath and shoot through that little hallway, or you could keep going through behind and you'd have one on the back, and then keep going further and you'd have another one, and if you keep going further, you can have some more.
Right. Exactly. Right. Couldn't have said it better myself. That's the exact thing you're looking for in this situation, and yet we keep ramming our head into this, and that just means that we're stuck shooting as shields. We don't get the crossfire benefit, and we're not going to be able to do anything but shoot at tanks, which we discussed previously with target priority is just not going to be as effective.
Yeah, it's just not as good.
Yep. This is also going to allow you to just like sneak up on their on these high ground and like contest these guys super easily. There's almost if you just snuck out, like for example, let's say like instead of the very beginning us just peeking up here for no reason, like let's say we use that time to just sneak around down here and then maybe like check to see if they're looking, and then when they weren't looking or something like that, we just snuck around and then we were like we just slowly inched our way over this way. And then as the fight's beginning, we just sneak up on these guys. How's a Zen and a Widowmaker gonna contest a Hog, right? It's not gonna work too well for them. You're probably gonna get 1 or 2 kills out of that and then just escape because it's not like they can kill you, right? So that would just be a really good play to go for as well, rather than just sitting on the low ground trying to shoot at them. Very nice. Well, prioritize the shooting over the hooking when it's a tire. Alright. So yeah, the only thing we could have done there was just destroyed it. Let's see, what do we, and then we use the RE right here. Okay, so we already used that right before he used it. So yeah, really the only thing here would have just been to destroy it. It would have been the only effective thing that we could have done to get rid of it. And then that would have, and then because, you know, we took so much damage that resulted in our death.
Widow just actually cracked it.
Alright, nice baiting. Really solid play.
Yeah, this is when I started to sweat a little bit.
Yeah, we're seeming to be missing a lot of these hooks on the high grounds. Make sure we're not going for, so you kind of have a spectrum for hooks where sometimes you want to go for some prediction hooks because it's better than just not hooking at all. But then other times you just want to acknowledge when a hook probably isn't a reasonable hook to go for, right? Like you kind of have that difference between, like, sometimes it's worth it to try to go for a risky hook. Sometimes you have to just say, okay, that hook's probably not going to land. And it's looking like a lot of times we're just going for the super risky hooks, and we're not kind of acknowledging, okay, some of these hooks probably aren't going to land when like he's like super out of our line of sight or the person's like super far away. So we just because the alternative, like when Zenyatta is all the way around that corner, there's no way that hook's landing, right? So in this instance, when the hook's not gonna land, there's like a 1% chance that hook lands. You're better off saving it, because in a second here he does peek, and then maybe that hook is a lot more landable, right? Because you're gonna have that cooldown
So just
available.
have patience, you know, like just because something presents itself to you doesn't mean that that's the one you should go for.
Or
If you don't feel comfortable taking the hook and you don't think you're going to get the value out of it, wait for an opportunity to open up like that.
alternatively, identify when it's not an opportunity, because that
Yeah.
wasn't an opportunity, because he was around the corner, right? We want to identify when it identify when it's not a hook we can reach, which has been a couple of them. We've tried to go for the Zen on the high ground like 3 times, and it's missed every time. So we want to be able to identify this hook is probably not going to land, and then cut your losses and go for a different hook, right? Because we could go, alternatively go for a hook on Zarya or Ana, right, or any of these guys up here, or we could go on the, like we said, with the Zenyatta, right? It just presents more options so that you're not wasting the hook, right?
Yeah. Instead of just fucking like throwing it at nothing. That's
Yep,
what I mean.
exactly.
I should have held the hook there. I should have known Zarya was on her way out anyways.
Exactly.
I thought I could get another one.
Now
Of those.
that one is not nearly as bad, right? Do you maybe have a guess why? Like why I wouldn't have a problem with that hook?
Because first off, I'd like to think that he's up top. He has a more open angle. First off, because where I am positioned compared to where he is, and if he was peeking before, and I already hit one of those hooks earlier around that corner, so if he was peeking before, I probably could have gotten that there as well.
Yeah. So the biggest thing. So first off, it's just a more out in the open hook, right? Like you said, it's
Yeah.
just an easier hook to land. But not even that's not even the main point I'm trying to get at here. The main point is that what other hook are you gonna go for, right?
Yeah. No,
There's no
nobody.
this is a situation where a risky hook is fine, because you don't need that hook cooldown for anything else, right?
It's the only hook you got.
Exactly, it's the
There's
only
nothing
hook you
else.
got. Now, if the fight was in the middle of happening, that might be a hook where you might want to be hesitant for it, where you're like, okay, I don't know if I want to go for the hook, because it might be better off just going for somebody else who's easier to land on.
But on the opposite, I get that hook. That's a stagger, so it's worth going for because
Exactly.
I'm not going to get punished for it because nobody's here to punish for it.
Exactly.
Heroes never die.
Nice hook. Nice hook. Right, though those were hooks on tanks, there were 2 very high value hooks on the tanks, because on the Ball, that allowed your Bastion to melt him and your team to melt him, and then on the Reinhardt, that stopped him from doing damage to your Ryan. So those were pretty good hooks, even if they weren't on, squishies there.
Yeah.
Alright.
I don't know how well this defense is. We'll see. Probably not very good.
Yeah, most we're gonna do at the moment when they're out of hook range, you just go for the spam damage.
I think I could have hit that hook if I just
if you
for him.
Once in a while, we're just going for some, just for some things that aren't at the right distances. Like sometimes the big one is I'm seeing most of the time it's just right clicks at too close range, but also we just want to be careful. This like where we left click when she's like a mile away from us, right?
I have a question. So is that rotation good that I made just there? I healed so instead of going to my right here when I take damage, I'm gonna go behind. Heal up, go behind, and then I meet them around the corner, opposed to taking, or at least
I would say good, because you're being pushed out, and what could happen is if we walk through this open area, we get rocked by Sigma and then dead.
Yeah.
Or we don't. I mean, now they just swapped the Pharah, but like, what if Pharah
and I'm already discorded as well. So
I think
damage is gonna
honestly,
hurt a
even
lot more.
even with the Discord, I think you might have been able to make it like with the 2 times less damage from your E. Just as long as they didn't have stuns, but they do have stuns, so that's just the one thing I'd be watching out for. So I think this rotation's fine.
I don't know what do I try to hook the Mercy here? I do, but I wait way too long. Even if I'm gonna try to throw a shitty hook like that, I at least gotta make sure
Yep.
it's in range.
Also, probably we just want to make sure we're not dropping from the high ground for no reason, right? When we just could take that, stay on it, and then that way we have the high ground advantage, like we've discussed many times.
So, like, if there is high ground readily available, should I just be taking it?
Yep.
Alright.
More left clicks out of range. Why don't we... I think last time, if I remember correctly, we didn't talk about that because I thought that we did good enough with it. Did we talk about left click versus right click usage?
Yeah, we did a little bit, yeah.
We did.
That's how you came up with the tracer thing.
Tracer, okay.
Because,
All right.
Because that's what you.
Then essentially, you get the point, right? Just make sure that we're left clicking, at a close range and right clicking at a longer range. Just a couple times where we're not doing that correctly. Like, let's see that. Like here, that should not be a left click range. That should be a right click range. Where that would be doing the most effective damage. Second one, same thing. Now we're close enough to where you probably should left click, but most of those shots are probably just gonna be more effective as the right click. Nice hook. All right. Let's rewatch that real quick. So we're going to run the point here in a moment. Probably say that wasn't the best idea. So when we do this,
just held high ground still.
yeah. At the moment, we don't have cooldowns, and we need to reload, and we need to get healed, and we just don't have anything, and we're also winning this fight at the moment. I guess we're almost dead Bastion, but the other thing is that we have to keep in mind is that Reinhardt and Sigma are a little bit more, or I guess Reinhardt in particular is more brawly than we are, right? And we don't have a reason to touch because we have carts so far away from the end. So at the moment we don't need to worry about cart, and we probably don't want to step within range of Reinhardt swinging, right? Because that makes him useful here. If Reinhardt's not swinging on anything, Reinhardt's pretty much going to be useless here in this fight. Reinhardt's not going to be doing anything as if he's not swinging, but we kind of step within his range to let him swing and then do unnecessary damage to us. So the timing is off to where we probably shouldn't be engaging this fight when we need to reload, when we're at 1 bullet, and when we don't have abilities, and when we're half HP. And we also probably shouldn't even be running into a Reinhardt in the first place when we could just keep our range. We don't want to be getting within that closer range on him. And then as a result, we get melted very, very fast. And also, we probably should be using our E. So a lot of different things that kind of just went together all at once there. And then therefore we die. And then potentially lose the fight if we did die, and then we just, of course, every death's just gonna be less value. Oh, come on, dude. This game's... I hate the 26-minute long games because it's so hard to pinpoint where I'm trying to go. Alright,
You don't have to watch all of it.
Yeah, I'm specifically saying it's so hard to go backwards because it goes back like a whole minute when I'm trying to go back like a couple seconds.
Weird.
Just because there's a longer one. In this instance, we go for the Sigma. That's all right. Yeah, I'd say honestly we could just walk this way and then boom Zen, boom Mercy, right? Not too much in danger because what are they gonna do to us? We have our healing. We can just run away from the high ground, right? Boom Zen can't see me, right? Type of deal. So high ground advantage. Make sure we're just using it to get to the supports and prioritizing them. Okay. So it seems like it's obviously a lot better than last time, but it still looks like target priority needs a little bit of work. Here we also didn't seem to be aware of that they have a Sombra. We first off make sure pressing tab just to see the fact that they have a Sombra. Secondly, we see our Mercy get shot at or hacked. She just gets hacked there. We hear the hack and we see her hacked. And Sombra, we saw it come from the right side. We know Sombra's on the right side. Yet we're kind of looking at our Mercy and we don't turn around and look at the Sombra. Like, we could have, literally Sombra's right there, right? That's such an easy hook that we can go for if we're just paying attention there. We're just not being aware of our environment. Other potential hooks we can go for. Just keep walking up here. Sigma's 1 HP there. We can shoot him or hook him. We have Mercy here we can shoot at and or hook. We can keep walking. And there's a Zenyatta who we can shoot at and or hook. Yeah, we go for the Reinhardt, probably the worst possible person to go for at the moment, right? Just because he's the least, he's just going to get pocketed.
And I rip him out of the LOS of Bastion, too.
Yep. Right, so we just want to be aware, target priority, going for the right targets.
We C9 so bad in this game.
Yeah, we want to be careful of point here is what I was about to say.
Oh, no, you just wait. Once we get the second point, it's going to look like we're winning, and then we get C9 by a Sombra.
Jeez. Yeah, which comes in at awareness again, right? If you're being C9, you just want to make sure, especially, first off, acknowledge the fact they have a Sombra, right? Think in your head, alright, that means that she might want to go for C9s, that means that she's going to be doing sneaky stuff, she's going to be behind us. There we soaked up some unnecessary damage when we have our ultimate, right?
I don't...
We just fed some ult charge there.
Guess I was just being nice to him. Hook accuracy, garbage.
Yep. Alright, so right now we're thinking about maybe looking for an off angle. Where are we gonna, because we don't have any main tanks, so we probably aren't gonna want to just sit on the, like, if we're sitting on the main angle, we're contesting two, like, we have two different shields that can block us, so we probably don't want to just be sitting down main, because that's not going to be very effective for our playstyle here. So we're looking to take an off angle. Where are we probably going to go here?
If I'm looking to take an off angle, I can go high ground.
Yep, just take top left, or even top right would be a longer wraparounds if you wanted to. It'd just be getting you to the same place, but a little bit safer maybe. So that's just where we want to be rotating at the moment. Nice awareness. Good job seeing her. Grab the health pack rather than using your ability. That way you have your ability if you need it when the fight is happening.
Yep.
Don't waste your right clicks while trance is happening, because you already have your ultimate, so doing damage isn't going to be getting your ult charge, and it's not going to be very effective, so it's pretty useless to just be shooting in there right now. Like, these shots, we go 1, 2, those two were happening during a transcendence, which just meant that it didn't really do very much. And then again, we're just trying to kind of contest from the main angle, so positioning, taking off angles rather than just sitting on the main angle. Awareness, right? We're ulting after we've won the fight. I think so far we've been doing pretty good for this, but I think, I don't think this has been something that did I talk about that last time? How to know whether or not you won or lost the fight? I didn't put that in the notes.
No, you did not.
No, I guess it's, we haven't had to talk about that too often, but I guess we'll talk about this because there have been other moments where we're just pushing it without people, so we'll just go over it anyways. Okay. So how to tell whether or not you've won or lost a fight, right? And then this feeds into us not over-ulting here, right? When you are, this banks on paying attention to kill feed and looking on the top right corner of your screen, right? When you are up 1 to 2 people, that is an advantage. When you have an advantage, you can play more aggressively, right? You can, go in further because they have less people to shoot at you and less people to contest you. When you are up 2 to 3 people, that is a 1 fight at that point, which is this, this fight right now. It's a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 versus a 1, 2. Right, if you count the Reinhardt, right? That is a 1 fight, which means that at this point, we no longer want to use ults because ulting would just be overkill, doesn't do anything in particular. You've already won the fight. And then also at this point, we want to just get super aggressive, go pick up stagger kills, like kill the, go push and kill the Sigma. If the Sombra pushes any further, kill the Sombra, just because, who's going to help them if their whole team's in spawn, right? And then that gets you extra kills, it staggers them further, right? Now, this also goes the exact opposite way. When you're down 1 to 2 people, that is a disadvantage, right? At that point, you want to look to play a little bit more passive, but you didn't lose the fight yet. You're just losing the fight, right? Now, when you're down 2 to 3, that is a lost fight, right? That's where you don't want to use ults again, because that would just be that wouldn't change the fact that you've lost the fight. And then on top of that, you want to look to get out if possible, or just if you can't get out, just let them kill you. Now, that applies in this situation where we overult, but then also it's applied in a couple other situations where we've just kind of walked in and gotten way too aggressive when we shouldn't have. So this paying attention to kill feed and acknowledging, how many people are we up or down is going to help you with your aggression, because those pair hand in hand is awareness and aggression. Is when you have to be aware of how the fight's going to know whether or not you can play aggressive or passive, right? Because it's constantly fluctuating whether or not you should be playing aggressive or passive, and a lot of times here we're just playing aggressive in situations where we probably should not be playing aggressive in. So this is a situation where C9?
Yeah, pretty soon here. After we beat up on him a little bit here, and then we C9.
Yeah, so we just want to constantly be paying attention, just awareness. C9s are very, very difficult to get across in higher ranks because of just how aware people are, right? It still happens, but I'd probably say C9s happen like
way less,
probably like a fourth of the time. Less, yeah, it's just way, way less than it does in any other rank, just because people pay attention, right? On top of that, the other thing is that we might, if cart's all the way back here, you might not want to reposition up to this high ground, because then that means that they can just kind of run past you to the cart or something like that, or that they can see line. Right, most of the time you're gonna want to position around where the cart's at. So if cart's over underneath here, that's completely fine to position on this high ground. In fact, that's where you should be positioning if cart's underneath this area, or pretty much like anywhere here. But once it gets past this bridge, then you should probably be taking this bridge and this high ground as the new positioning, because it allows you to contest cart much, much easier from here than it does over here, right? Because how are you going to contest point if it's all the way over there, right?
Yeah.
Oh. Honestly, if they were all the way over there, we probably could have still taken this fight like normal, rather than just trying to back all the way up. Like you can run and grab. It's not like Sombra is going to push cart all the way around and get another C9 on you guys, and Farah is contesting her, and like you guys aren't really anywhere close to there. It's probably better that you win the fight and then back up, just because then that kill gets you guys ult charge. It keeps your solid kind of momentum going without giving them a fight, and it means that they can't push the cart any further. But so in this instance, we probably just could have stayed up here on the high ground, killed the Zen or the soldier, gotten all thing on them, and then once the fight was done, then we could have rotated. But because we rotate, this kind of solidifies, this kind of puts us in that bad positioning to where we can't really do very much from here. And also, we're up a pick. We probably should just be turning around and shooting if our team's, paying attention to our environment, right? We're just kind of full backing when half of our team's staying, so we're kind of uncoordinated here. It's kind of the same thing with Ana. Ana's just backing, like, all the way out when... Or at least, she's about to. Now she's not. When Bastion, Mercy, Zarya, and Farah are all engaging them, right? So we just want to pay attention to what they're doing so that we're helping faster, because there we just walked too far out of range to help out, and then by that time Bastion's dead, and then we missed the hook on Reinhardt, right? It's just potentially we could have helped out a lot better there. Alright. Oh, snap doodles. I completely forgot that we had to get to the whatever you call that, the review portion and the main points. So let's just go over the main points then, since I forgot the review.
Oh man,
but it's
Boogie, what the hell?
But it's fine. You got notes, man. So you'll get most of this in there. So yeah, you in any case, yeah, main points.
It's like you can watch it on YouTube after; it'll be there.
So main points, right? Basically, I would probably say that we're looking at probably our positioning being number one. It's hard. It's really close between our positioning and our awareness. Those two are real close. I'd probably say
I would say my awareness.
Yeah.
I know more about positioning myself correctly than I do about being aware of my surroundings.
Yep. So then in that case, then that comes down to awareness, like, and then just making sure we're keeping in mind our positioning and just remembering to do it. So we'll do awareness as number 1, positioning as number 2. As number 3, I'll probably put at our ability usage. Number 4 at our mechanics. Really, in mechanics, only 2 things being just knowing when to left click versus right click, and then making sure we're keeping good target priority. That was probably one of the bigger ones in mechanics, but it didn't like kind of outweigh anything else in the other categories. Maybe it would the target priority outweighs the hook usage a little bit. That would be maybe one of the only things I would say. So we can maybe put the mechanics above ability usage. So yeah. Well, let's do that. We'll just put mechanics as number 3 just because of that.
I have a question for you. How do you fix your awareness? Like, because I get people tell me, like you and another person I've talked to have told me my awareness is not really there, and I'm aware of that, ironically.
Yeah.
But, so how do I improve that? Because like I can turn my sound up, and I've done that, and I am listening for footsteps now, but like even then, I feel like is there something I can do to fix that or.
Yeah, so let me get just the one, and then finally, of course, it's just the whatever, it's your ability usage, and then your ultimate usage is the last ones. But yes, awareness does have a way that you can improve on it, and in fact, this is something that I talk about with other people at other times. And my opening is, well, you might say to Boogie, awareness, how do I work on awareness? That's such a vague concept. How do I fix that, right? And I say that exact same phrase to them. So you're saying that thing to me. All right, so in any case, I'll explain it. Awareness, you improve on the same way that you improve on anything else, right? You're going to make sure that you're focusing on it while you're playing. And, that looks like this, where while you're playing, you're not autopiloting, you're not just playing to play, but instead you're playing with the intent of improving on something, and that would be awareness in this instance. So, for example, your brain would look like this while you're playing, where you're going to be thinking, awareness, right? And when your brain is looking like that, and when you're playing, you're going to notice, I'm starting to be a little bit more aware of my environment. I'm looking around a little bit more. I'm paying attention. I'm listening because I'm thinking about it actively, right? And when that happens for an extended period of time, and you're constantly focusing and putting effort in and thinking about it, you're gonna notice it starts to form as a habit, right? And when it forms as a habit, you no longer need to put in that same effort, because now it's just something that comes naturally. And that's the case where you've finally gotten good at it, and you can now focus on a different area, right? And now you're not going to want to do every single thing all at the same time, right? That's why we kind of focus on priorities, because you can't work on everything all at once, because that's going to get overwhelming. Instead, you focus on one category or 1 to 3 smaller things, right? So if awareness is what you're struggling with, you can focus on awareness as a whole, or you could even simplify it even further and focus on like a couple things, right? Focus on kill feed, or focus on just paying attention to, like, one of the bigger ones is just paying attention to where's my team, where's the enemy team, right? In the game, right? There's a lot of different things in awareness, so if it feels too overwhelming for the entire category, dumb it down and go over a couple things at a time. But that's just how you improve on anything you're working on, not just awareness, right? Is you focus on it while you're playing, and you're intentionally looking to improve on it, not just playing to play or playing while you're autopiloting and not thinking about anything. Right? Does that make sense?
Yeah. I let myself slip into that autopilot quite often. I feel like that's why I'm like hard stuck where I am.
So everyone does as well, man. That's the thing that happens with me. Things that happens to everyone. It's only the intentionality of like thinking about it while you play that anyone is able to improve. Once you start autopiloting and you're not really thinking about what you're doing while you're playing, is where you start to just play to win. And like even something that sounds that crazy, like why wouldn't I play to win? Well, when you play to win and you're not playing to improve, well, then that means that you're in the long run you're not actually going to be getting better, right? And in the long run you're not winning as much as you could be. When you play to improve, you're improving your gameplay and therefore winning more and more, rather than just, you know, winning in the short term, right? It's kind of the short term versus long term effects, right? Do you have any other questions?
No, I'm good.
All right. Well, then I'm going to stop the recording.